Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ma'am, Ruby. We are here in front of you to tackle our topic. So before I start the topic, we'll call the attendance. For those who are absent or late, we'll mark A and L. So ang katong wala diri automatic late o absent na ang gihalgan.
Present.
Alicante. Wala. Ate Kesa. Wala. Papunawa. Say present if your name is called. Bahian.
Pasay.
Balaro. Wala. Barbarona.
Present, sir.
Bayon.
Present, sir.
Bilones.
Present.
Bidinol.
Present, sir.
Kalma. Inside. Maso. Chu.
Present, sir.
Gutamora.
Sir.
Dumilaw. Incabo.
Present, sir.
Escohero. Gabo.
Present, sir.
Guantero. Buda. Lamayo. Inside. Leono. Libardos. Lacuna. Lumbab.
Present, sir.
Macote.
Present.
Mendoza.
Present.
Conteras.
Present.
Natividad.
Present, sir.
Neri.
Present, sir.
Palas. Colados. Seleksyon, Rafael Sabado.
Ano din naman, sir?
So, kan? Attended ka absent mo?
Okay, before we formally start, we want to introduce ourselves. I am Christine Simbahon.
I am Marco Polo Sabado. I am Angelo Picolados.
I am Terence Resurrection.
I'm Yulika Jean Huaga. I'm Madalisa Villas Origin, call me teacher. I am Science Secretary.
I'm Ejibubu Sanchez.
I'm the group coordinator.
And we are the group 2, and we will be discussing the topic planning the curriculum.
So, in our last meeting, I already discussed what is planning the curriculum is. Planning the curriculum is how to plan a curriculum. And curriculum is a guide or a guide to teachers on what to teach and guide to students on what they should learn. But before I continue in my discussion, I will introduce you the class rules. The first class rule is be respectful. Because if someone is teaching in front, you must be respectful to your teachers. Next is no using of gadgets because it is also a disrespect to the teachers in front. And if you want to participate or have a question, just raise your hand so I can call your names. Lastly, you should have a fun in our discussion for today. And our objectives for today in our group is explain the approaches of the curriculum, describe the scope and sequence of curriculum organization, and 3, formulation of curriculum lesson plan.
Please come inside, everyone.
So the definition of the planning the curriculum is a process of setting goals, selecting content, organizing learning activities, and evaluating outcomes. And it also focuses on how the curriculum is organized, prepare, and align with student needs and school goals. So, you remember na I give you an assignment about this question. My assignment is, what is the importance of planning? What is the importance of curriculum? So anyone who have the answer about that assignment or question? I will call a random number to answer now. Ay. Bayan, please choose a number. 1.
5.
5. The lucky number 5 is you. So my question is, what is the importance of the curriculum?
So the importance of curriculum is in order for the teacher and students to have the guide. So the teacher have the guide to teach the students what are inside the curriculum and what are the things to taught and to teach, and also to meet the desired learning outcomes for the student.
Yes, that's right, Mr. Bahian. Please give 5 claps to Mr. Bahian. So based on our presentation and according to Mr. Bahian, it ensures lessons are purposeful, structured, and meet student needs. And it aligns teacher with educational standards and school vision and prepares learners for real-life applications. So, in order to plan a curriculum, there are steps, and there are 5 steps in curriculum planning, which is 1. Setting objectives, 2. Identifying needs, 3. Selecting content, 4. Organizing learning, and 5. Evaluation. So first step is the setting objectives. So setting objectives is what students should learn, or planning the curriculum in setting objectives is they aim or they will find what the student should learn on that curriculum. Next is the identifying needs. Identifying needs is they will find what the student needs in that curriculum. For example, or in explanation, it ensures the curriculum fits the students and not just the subject. Next is selecting content. Selecting content is choosing topics and lessons that meet objectives. But if the content that you choose does not coincide the curriculum, then your curriculum is not effective. Next is organization learning. It is the sequencing of lessons and planning strategies. So if you observe in our swimming and aquatics na subject, there are sequencing of subjects or lessons. Like first, we learn how to enter. We learn how to float. So as the time goes by, we progresses to actual swimming. So the lesson floating helps us to learn swimming in later part of the lesson. And last is the evaluation. Evaluation is checking the objective if the objectives were achieved. So for the example for this is through assessments. If in the evaluation, if the students or the curriculum has a high score or a higher or a high evaluation, then the curriculum is effective. Then if not, they will revise it to make it effective. So the approaches, there are three approaches of planning, which is the subject-centered, learner-centered, and problem-centered. The subject-centered is focus on content and academic disciplines like prioritize mastering subjects like math, science, and English. Next is the learner-centered. It focuses on the needs, interests, and abilities of students. And lastly, the problem-centered is focused on solving real-life issues or challenges. I just explained it in a broader way because in the next topic it will be reintroduced next with a fine explanation. So that's all from my part.
Okay, now we will be talking about the approaches to curriculum planning. What is curriculum planning? Earlier, Mr. Resurrection already discussed what is curriculum planning. Now, what is curriculum planning? Anyone? Okay. Yes, Ms. Cotamora.
Is organizing learning content and activities, setting learning goals and objectives, planning teaching methods and assessment.
Okay, thank you. That's correct. Well, curriculum planning, it is like planning a roadmap for learning so that so the teachers will know what topics to teach and how to teach the students. And why is it important? Mr. Resurrection already discussed why is it important. Anyone? Why curriculum planning is important? Yes, Letty.
It ensures smooth learning progress and neatness organized and clear. It helps teachers and students know their expectations.
Curriculum planning is important because without curriculum planning, the lessons or topics will be messy or confusing for the students and teachers. Now, this is the major approaches to curriculum planning. First, we have the subject-centered approach, the learner-centered approach, and the problem-centered approach. First, the subject-centered approach. It focuses on specific subject or content areas. This organizes around around a specific area of subject. Like for example, in math, what topics are going to be discussed in math subject? Of course, addition, multiplication, subtraction, anything that is related to math. It builds strong organization based on knowledge areas. It is good for building solid subject skills. Next, we have the learner-centered approach. The learner-centered approach focuses on the student's interests, needs, or likes. For example, your student is interested in technology. Therefore, you as a teacher need to apply a group activity that is related to their interests, like a technology related. Like if they like technology, they can have a presentation on PPTs or anything about technology. Next is the problem-centered approach. This focuses on the real-life problems. This helps the students to develop their critical thinking and teamwork skills. For example, a teacher will teach the students the environmental problems like the recycling garbages, the 3 R's. What are the 3 R's? Reuse, reduce, recycle. Yes, by teaching your students that, they will know or you will learn and intact to their mind that recycling is important so that our environment will stay in healthy condition. Dili siya fugaw. Now, I have discussed the 3 approaches. For you as a future educator, What approach will you choose? And is it the best approach to use? Anyone? Okay. Mr. Chu. With those three approaches that I have discussed, what do you think is the best approach to use?
Students observe.
Why?
It focuses the skill and the development of the students. And there are mas
Can you speak in English, please?
And that way you can improve a lot and learn a lot.
Thank you. That's correct, no? Not every student is, not every student is good with one approach only. Remember, every student is unique. They have different learning style. So you as a future educators, it depends on you on knowing your students well, understanding them, and at the same time, knowing what you want them to achieve. Because some are good with one approach, but others are good with 2 or 3 approaches combined. Now, in summary, for my topic, curriculum planning guides teaching and the learning. Different students have different learning approaches to you. Different students need different approaches to use. And good planning improves learning outcomes. We will entertain questions after we discuss all the topics because we are running out of time and we were given 1 hour only for our whole topic. Next topic is teachers as curriculum planner. This will be discussed by Mr. Resurrection.
I'm back, everyone. Good afternoon. Okay, everyone. Students. So my next topic is about the teacher as curriculum planner. So, next. So the definition of this topic is the teacher's role in shaping and carrying out the curriculum. So as a future teachers, we are a implementers or the designers or the evaluators of a curriculum. So in this topic, I will discuss on what the teacher should do in the curriculum plan. First is the teachers as implementers, as I've said earlier. It translates a written curriculum into actual classroom practice and chooses teaching methods and strategies that fits student. So if a teacher is given a curriculum, then the teachers will implement it or teach it to the students, and the teachers choose a teaching method that fits to the students, so that the students can learn the lessons. So teachers as planners or designers. And it is just and designs lesson plans based on students' levels and integrate local culture experiences and resources into the curriculum. So as a teacher, if that lesson is very hard for the students, so we as a teacher, we must fit the students on what their level is. For example, we are teaching exercises. Then the lessons in that exercises is very hard or difficult. Then we as teachers, we must change the lessons in changing the hard ones into easy ones, so that the students can learn the lessons very well. And also And we also integrate local culture and experiences and resources in the curriculum. So for example, if you are teaching in a Manugo area or something like that, remote area. So we must have a lessons that will focuses on their local culture or experiences so that the students can relate to that lessons. Next, teachers as evaluators assesses whether students meet learning objectives and provide feedback for improvement of both teaching and curriculum. So as a teachers, we must do some assessments in order for us, in order to evaluate if the curriculum or our lessons does really help the students and also the students and also as teachers can help provide feedback to further enhance the curriculum. And the importance of teachers in curriculum planning is they know the learners' needs best, they ensure the curriculum is relevant and practical, they act as a bridge between policy, the standards, and industrial practice. And in the summary of my two topics, planning the curriculum is setting objectives, choosing content, organizing learning, and evaluating success. And in the teachers as curriculum planner, teachers are not just followers but decision makers who adapt, implement, and evaluate their curriculum for effective learning. So that's all from my
Okay, next. Hello again. Right now I will be discussing the diagnosis of needs. The diagnosis of needs is an important step in curriculum development because before we design a program or curriculum, we first need to identify or understand what our learners actually require. The diagnosis of need, or also called as the needs of analysis or needs of assessment, it is a systematic process of finding out what the learners already learned and what they still need to learn. Without this, we're teaching that is either too easy, too difficult, or not even relevant to the student's life. But why is it important? Mr. Bakunawa, can you please read the importance of the needs?
Ensures curriculum is relevant and flexible, promotes effective teaching and learning, identifies gaps in knowledge, skills, and attitudes, enhances learner motivation and engagement, provides bases for evaluating success.
Okay, thank you. The importance of diagnosis of needs. If we don't know what our learner already understands or what they struggle with, our curriculum might miss the mark. This helps ensure that lessons are meaningful, effective, and aligned to what our learners truly need. Mr. Natividad, can you please read the next slide? Mr. Natividad? Read the next slide.
Students, teachers,
Students, the main source of information about learning needs teachers, understand students' strengths, weaknesses, and classroom. Administrators, align curriculum which goes both community, industry, ensure curriculum match real world needs.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Natividad. We have four stakeholders of the diagnosis of needs. First, the students. They provide a first-hand input on what they find difficult. Second, we have the teachers. The teachers observe and assess the students' performances. Next, the administrators, the ones who aligns the curriculum to the school goals. And lastly, the community or the industry. This ensures that this ensures and prepares the student for the real life job. There are also methods for the diagnosing of needs. First, surveys or questionnaires. This is a quick way to gather opinions or data. Second, interviews and focus groups. This goes deeper to their experiences. Third, we have observation. This is what actually happens within a classroom. Fourth, we have tests and assessments. This gives measurable data. And lastly, document review. This reviews the previous records or performance of a student to track the patterns. There are also steps in diagnosis of needs. First, identify the stakeholders, the one who results. Second, define the purpose. Why assess is needed. Third, collect data, the survey, test, and observation. Fourth, we have analyze the result, find the gaps. Fifth, set priorities, decide which needs are most urgent. And sixth, plan curriculum, design lessons to address the needs. There are 5 characteristics of effective needs diagnosis. Ms. Lubab, can you please read the slide?
Characteristics of effective needs diagnosis. First, systematic, follows the step-by-step process. Second, practical, data must be usable. Third, inclusive, involves different stakeholders. Fourth, objective, based on facts, not assumptions. Fifth, action-oriented, results must lead to vertical improvement.
Thank you. The first characteristic of effective needs diagnosis is it must be systematic. It should follow an organized process. Second, it must be practical. The data that is collected must be usable. Third, it must involve different stakeholders. Fourth, it should be objective based. Therefore, it should be real evidence, facts, not assumptions. And lastly, action oriented. This leads to actual improvement in teaching and curriculum. In summary, diagnosis of needs is the foundation of curriculum development. It identifies the gap and ensures relevance. Before we decide curriculum or program, diagnosis of needs helps tailor your teaching to what the learners actually need. The next topic will be discussed by Mr. Picolatos.
So, good morning everyone. So, we will be talking about the objective formulation. So, our objective is about students should be able to identify objective formulation and explain its importance in setting clear expectation, guiding teaching methods, and measuring success. Second is apply a smart approach in writing learning objectives that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Third is differentiate the 3 learning domains. This is cognitive, affective, and psychomotor, and formulate sample of objectives using Bloom's taxonomy. Our objective for today is we were tackling in our discussion. So in definition, what is objective formulation? Please read everyone the first and second group.
It's the process of clearly defining what we need to achieve in a lesson, project, or research.
It means turning your general goals into specific, measurable, and achievable statements that are teaching learners or something.
So for you, please pick a number then. This time. So for you, what is your understanding about objective formulation based on what you read?
Okay, objective my own definition. It should be clearly defining what you want to achieve in the maybe in the entire semester or in a specific subject. It should be achievable, like must be smart, not assumptions, we say objective.
Yes, that is correct. It is important that your objective must be clear to the students. Your objective must be clear in order for the students to learn at the end of the session. Your goal is your objective, right, Mr. Ezra? Yes. So the next slide is about why objective formulation is important. So first is about gives direction. Gives direction. It helps teacher what students are to learn is hiding. So if you are a teacher, your objective must be aligned to what you are discussing in front of the students in order for the students to learn. It's not just to learn, but it can apply to the real world situation and it may fix a long term of effectiveness. Next is about set clear expectation. Set clear expectation, it is an example of the objective for this is by the end of the session, you should dribble the ball consistency within 30 seconds. Both teacher and students must be able to achieve the 30 seconds of dribbling. So the student expect that at the end of the session, 30 seconds of dribbling must be performed. And the next is about guided teaching methods. Guided teaching methods is about there's a lot of context of teaching methods, whether it depends on what you're discussing in school. It's about discussing in front of classmates or in sport. So in sport, the context of sport is about demonstration because it requires demonstration in able for the students to copy or imitate what you are going to next is the measure success. You must measure the success of the students at the end of the session. And the next is about the steps in formulating objective or what we call SMART approach. So first is specific. So why is it specific? The objective must be clear stated. What student will learn? It must be clear or aligned to the objective. So for example, this is about So next is measurable. It should be possible to assess if student achieve it. It depends on ages or sex of individual. It's measurable. And the next is achievable. Achievable is an objective must be realistic for students' level. So the next is mission. Connect to the subject curriculum standard the student need. It must be relevant. If I am tackling about sport, it must be relevant to sports. I am tackling about math, science, and so on. I must need to focus on sports. Next is time bound. It says time frame about how many hours time frame you are doing to achieve your objective. The next is why Bloom taxonomy is applicable or correlated to objective formulation. First is it's about cognitive. Cognitive is about thinking and knowledge. So first is about remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. So for example of the objective of cognitive. At the end of the session, students should be able to explain what is the correct process of making rev cycle. So the keyword in there is learning. So it requires retention because it's like cognitive, no? And the next is affective. Affective is about valuing feelings of one another. So in the objective of affective, for example, is at the end of the session, students should be able to value the teammates based on their team, value their teammates by cooperating in a group discussion. And next is psychomotor, the imitation, manipulation, precision, articulation, and naturalization. It's about physical skills or action. No? It's like imitating the instructor or of what he or she demonstrating to you, right? The actividad, right? Yes. So
Now you're left.
in summary, objective formulation is a process of turning broad goals into clear, specific, and measurable learning objectives. Gives direction, sets expectation, guide teaching methods, and help assess learning outcomes. Use this criteria and help the students to improve. So, did I read the objective earlier?
Yes.
Yes? Yes. Okay, thank you everyone. The next is about criteria, goals, and objectives.
Yeah.
So good afternoon, everyone. So today we're going to discuss very important part of curriculum development, which is the criteria for goals and goals. This will guide us in making sure that our teaching will be effective and more meaningful. So in curriculum planning, goals and objectives are like the compass for education. So they tell us where we are heading and how we can learn. So to be effective, they must be clear, realistic, and aligned to student needs and societal demands. So first, we have criteria. The first is clarity. Goals and objectives must be clearly stated and easily understood by all teachers and students. So, goal must be clear so that student and teacher should be understand them. And for us to understand, they must be hindi nila gumagamit of uncertain words like understand. They must be used measurable verbs in their objectives like identify or analyze. The next is relevance. Please read one. They should address the actual needs, interests, and abilities of learners. So relevance objectives should reflect on student needs and their abilities and the society, the demand of the society. The next is attainable. Please, Mr. Labayo. Okay, so goals must be attainable. They should be realistic and achievable. And within the time, resources, and ability of the student. Then fourth, please read Mr. Bahian. Mr. Bahian, please read the slide. Please read the slide. So, objectives should not focus only on knowledge, but also focus on values and skills. This ensures holistic development, like the mind, our heart, and body. The next is consistency. Please. Consistency of objectives must be aligned with your education.
goals of thank you. So objective must be aligned with broader education and the nation curriculum's both mission and national curriculum. And there should be no contradiction between grade level and subject. The next is measurable. Is the objectives should be stated in a way that because measurable are measurable. So, for instance, we can measure whether a student can construct a paragraph, but not within basic defined writing. And then objective should be stated in a way that we can understand. Next, boundedness is objectives. Objectives must specify the criteria. So, objective must be specific to time for achievement. For example, by the end of the lesson, students should be able to. So, dapat na siya sa inyong objectives. Then, last is flexibility. Is flexibility allows space for teacher creativity and responsiveness to students. So, while objectives guide us, they should also give teachers a role for more effective and adjust based on the needs of the learning group. Then, in summary, we apply or follow these criteria. Our teaching must be effective, purposeful, and responsive to the learning. So, Simon says, please up. Miss Pinelo, give me an praise. Responsible, thank you, Miss Pinelo. Now,
Uy, no.
Miss Lumbawan, give me an praise. 13. Another. Come on. Why it is important to have a clear objectives and why it is important to have goals and objectives.
It's very important to have the goals and objectives. Goals and objectives because if you don't have a goal and objective, you don't know what your target is. You can find a guide to how you will teach your students, how you will make them learn. You will make goals with it. You cannot provide.
Mr. Kabasi. And next, Miss Oil.
Okay, once again, good afternoon, everyone. So now let's continue to discuss about the selection and organization of learning experiences within the curriculum design. So this is fundamental in ensuring that education is meaningful and effective. So in curriculum content, so it refers to the moving body of knowledge that should be taught in a school program. These learning experiences are the interaction or activities where learning can happen, whether in courses, programs, or any experiences. So when selecting curriculum content, there are specific criteria that should be adopted. First is validity, so it is important that the content is accurate and appropriate. Self-sufficiency in the content should be able to stand on its own without excessive external references or materials that is. Next is significance. So the content must be meaningful for the learners and meaningful and important for the learner's overall development and
role. So next is interest. So to motivate and engage learners, students should content should stimulate curiosity and make learning enjoyable. So next is learnability. So the content should be teachable and learnable. So next is utility. So content should have practical application or relevance to real life situation. So consistency with social realities reflect to the society and times learning activity. So it's similar to the selective learning experiences. So there is validity, variety, interest, relevance to life, stability, and comprehensive that you need to understand what is your intent. So in organize after once selecting organization and learning experience and content, we need to organize so that should vertical organization and horizontal organization. So we need to say vertical organization, which arrange learning across time and classes in the same subject building participants. So example niya is katong last semester na natin Factory 1, Factory 2, and Factory 3. So, horizontal organization, where learning in one subject supports and enrich learning in another within the same grade. So, criteria for organizing, first is continuity, emphasis on the learner's experience until mastery is achieved. Next is sequence, progress from lower to higher knowledge to simple or to complex. Next is integration, relationship among learning experience to create unified view and behavior.
Okay, next topic will be discussed by Mr. Marco, the scope and sequence of curriculum organization.
So good afternoon everyone. So today we discuss about the scope and sequence of curriculum organization. So scope means that what topics and skills are included in the curriculum, which means that it defines the topics and skills are included in the curriculum. It's the what students will learn. For example, think of like a roadmap. So scope is the map content, but destinations means topics and skills are included. So next is the sequence, the order in which these topics and skills are taught. So sequence determines the order in which these topics and skills are taught. Example, it's the when the students will learn in each topic or skills. So in sequence now, so in sequence is like let's example sa scope. Sequence is just like a rock, or sa Tagalog, sa Bisaya, runta. So in order them to, sequence is just like the road. The order in which you visit each destination. Next. Scope ensures coverage of all necessary subjects and skills. This means including all the important topics to avoid gaps. So next is sequence arranges learning logically from simple to complex, and this supports students' smooth learning progression. So in summary, also, scope is what is taught, then the sequence, when and how it is taught, then overall together they organize curriculum for effective teaching and learning.
Okay.
So
So since we don't have a much time, so next meeting we continue to discuss. Please. Goodbye, everyone.
In recap,
So in summary, also scope what is taught, sequencing when and how it is taught. Together they organize curriculum for effective teaching and learning. Next, I'll give the next topic is I give it to the floor to Miss Rena to continue the discussion.
okay, so good afternoon everyone. So today let's dive into another topic that we assigned, which is steps in curriculum organization. First is what is curriculum organization. Curriculum development. Curriculum development is a systematic or process that involves designing, planning, and evaluating educational programs. It requires planning, collaboration, and continuous improvement. So there are different steps in curriculum organization. First is consideration of educational aids. This step is the long-term vision of education. This step is reflect that the education or institution wants to achieve such as skills, skills development, and character. Second is formulations of educational objectives. These steps, once the broad goals or aims are set, it is specific and measurable. Measurable, and measurable educational objectives. These objectives define what the learners are expected to learn or what the learners are expected to do. The third one is the selection of organizations of content. This step is very relevant subject matter. Their teams and their skills are chosen to meet the objectives. So the content of this step the content should be engage the students and the content must be meaningful and appropriate for the learners. The fourth one is deciding on instructional procedures. This involves teaching methods, strategies, and activities that will effectively deliver and organize the content. It should engage the learners, accommodate the learners in any different learning styles. Next is the evaluation and assessment phase. These steps include tasks, assignments, projects, and observations, evaluations to help monitor the progress or identify the gaps, and provide feedback to the learners, but not also the learners, but also for the educators. Uh, Next is selection of teaching learning resources. So these steps involve choosing textbooks, reference materials, audiovisual aids, and technology tools that support learning proper resources that enhance the understanding the learners. And it gives also them a motivation and interaction through the learner or the student. The last one is the specifications of standards and outcomes. So finally, clear standards for performance and unexpected outcomes at various level or grades. These standards ensures consistency and help measure achievement and guide to further curriculum improvement. So that's the end of my topic. So I will give the floor to the next teacher.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. you the next topic, which is the fundamentals of curriculum. So what is fundamental curriculum? It is generally involved several core components and principles that guide an educator in creating effective and meaningful learning experience. Now, here are the eight elements. Number one is intended learning outcomes. When we say intended learning outcomes, this is the objectives. And the objectives, it must be clear, specific, measurable objectives that defines what the learners are expected to be achieved by the end of the course or lesson. Next is the subject matter or topical contents. In the subject matter, it is a selection of relevant topics and materials that align with the learning task. So in the content, it must be meaningful, organized, and appropriate for the learning level. Next is the teaching and learning methods. When we say teaching and learning methods, it is a strategies and activities that engage in learners actively. It includes the cooperative learning, the independent study, and competition and experiential method. This method shall be accommodate to the diverse learning styles and promote the student-centered learning. Next is assessment and evaluation. Assessment and evaluation are tools and process to measure if the learner's outcomes are being achieved. This includes the formative assessment, summative assessment, per assessment, and teacher's assessment. Next is 5. Curriculum design principle, or what values guide the curriculum. This covers the principles like flexibility, child-centered learner, integration of experience, relevance to real life, and lastly, it must be aligned in the educational goals. Next is last curriculum development process, or understand what learners needs, or how do we create a curriculum in step by step. First is needs assessment. It understands what learners needs to succeed. And two is formulating objectives, which means the teacher should set a clear learning goals. And selecting content. Selecting content is we must choose what will be done. And four, organizing learning experience or plan a sequence and lastly, the evaluation. It means continuously check how effective the curriculum is or making an improvement of what is so for part, so the next topic will be discussed by teacher Raquel. Right? Teacher.
And now let's proceed to my topic, the fundamentals of curriculum design. Curriculum is a plan that for learning, it organizes that what and how students learn. There are three major approaches in designing a curriculum. First is learner-centered, and second is subject-centered, and last is problem-centered. Everyone, please read the learner-centered approach.
Child learner-centered approaches focus the learner's needs, interests, and abilities. Role of teacher, facilitator, and guide. Teachers encourage active participation, develops critical thinking and creativity, builds on students' experience.
So these approaches is focused on the students' needs and interests. So the teacher also is to guide students, encourage them to active participation of the students, creativity of the students, and critical thinking of the students. Now let's proceed to subject-centered approach. Everyone, please read.
Focus, organization,
A subject, matters, or content.
Role of teacher. Knowledge, experts, authority. Features. Traditional structure. Emphasis on knowledge mastery. Subject taught separately. Math, science, etc.
So this approach focuses on the content that the teacher is have the authority or the subject are taught separately like maths or science or etc. It is a traditional to structured and textbooks based. And now let's proceed to problem-centered approach. Everyone please read.
Focus real life problems and issues. Role of teacher. Co-learner and problem solver. Features. Encourage inquiry and collaboration. Links learning to real world challenges. Promotes social responsibility.
So this approach deals with real life issues that the teacher and students must work together to solve the problem. So through inquiry and collaboration. So here the comparison of approaches focus learning style and teacher role. So Miss Oy, please read the learner-centered and what is focus and learning style and teacher role.
Learner-centered, subject-centered, problem-centered, focus, student-centered, content, subject, real-life issues, learning style, active and participation, structured introduction, inquiry, and problem-solving, teacher role, facilitator, authority, co-learner guide.
And that's all. In summary, curriculum designs can be approached in three major ways. So the learner-centered approach prioritizes students' needs and personal growth. So the subject-centered approach ensures that mastery of essential knowledge and organized content, and the problem-centered approach equips learners with the skills to solve real-life issues. Now let's proceed. That's all my topic, and now let's proceed to Mr. Rockwell.
Well, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
I'll be discussing the curriculum design. So, the question is, what is curriculum design? So, curriculum design is like a blueprint of a teacher. So, we're like architecture engineers. Without a blueprint, the structure of the building is not firm enough. So, but for us, as a teacher, we build students for the future. Yes. So curriculum design is really one.
Curriculum design is the process of planning what students will learn, how they will learn it, and how learning will be assessed.
So curriculum design has a 4 key elements. So it has a goals, what to achieve. So the question is what to achieve. Let's say, for example, Mr. Sabado, he wants to achieve something, he wants to be a university scholar. So by that he strived for it to accomplish his goal. So in a content, without a content, Mr. Sabado cannot achieve the goal. So we have a content, what to teach. Let's say, for example, in our program, we are a big students, so our content of this program is about different learning experience, how to teach. So how to teach the content, and with that, if we are able to teach the content, so we have to assess them. So how to measure the learning? Let's say for example, we will assessing the students by practicals, exams, quiz. So there are types of curriculum design. First is subject-centered. Focus on subject. Let's say for example, in our program, we have a graded 69 subject. So our focus there is to learn safety precautions, learn safety management, and learn risk reduction management. So that is subject centered. So in learner centered is the students interest on that specific subject. Let's say for example, Mr. Sanchez, he likes the BPH 69 subject because he wants to learn the safety precautions and risk reduction management. So that is learner centered. So problem centered, as what Miss Waga said before, problem centered focuses on real life problems. Let's say for example, in your barangay, you notice that some of the children there are malnourished. So, in order to overcome the problem, you will collaborate with the nutrition experts in your barangay to implement a feeding program. So let's proceed to discipline design. The focus is on a specific branch knowledge. Design. So, focus is on a specific branch of knowledge. Let's say, for example, our program is DepEd, right? So, we are studying a movement of the body. So, without the physiology, without that subject, we cannot be able to understand how our body moves. So, that is discipline design. So, broad field design combines related subjects into one. Let's say, for example, we use science to study the movement of our body. Let's say, for example, our human science. We study our human movement. Correlation design links one subject with another. Sorry, there's a understanding about broad field design. So yes, broad field design is as PE majors, we are studying different kinds of activities. For example, we study music, sports, and physical activities like that. So that is broad field design. Correlation design is like linking another subject to your major subject. Let's say, for example, science. You relate the science to physical education. Let's say, for example, we use science to study our body movement. So without the human science, we cannot study the movement of our body. So process design. So let's say for example, in process design, you were studying, you were learning. Let's say for an instance, you were practicing. I'm sorry. So for an instance, you were enrolled in BPED 55, individual and dual sports. In that subject, you will learn how to play individual sports like pickleball. You learn how to serve. Yes, ground stroke and receive and serve the ball. So you will learn that in that sport. But the but not only that skill the students learn, but also the discipline. Say for example, the leadership of that student, the communication with his teammates, or teamwork for his teammates. And last is core design, focuses on common learning experiences. Core design means giving all students the same important experience. For example, everyone in DPED program learns the basic exercise for their lifelong fitness. So that's all for my part.
The overall conclusion of our topic is that effective curriculum planning and designing relies on clear objectives, proper approaches, and the active role of teachers, ensuring that learners are meets through structure and relevant learning experiences. And that's all our topic for today. Good afternoon.